Hey friends, now today's video is going to be another interview that I recorded at the Amiga 30 event in Peterborough a couple of weeks ago. This time though focusing a little bit more on the future of the Amiga-like platforms and exactly where the next generation Amigas are right now and where they're going, as we talk to Trevor Dickinson from A-Eon. Now if you're not familiar with Trevor, I'll just say this guy is one of the most enthusiastic and passionate Amiga users I've ever met. Not only has he got one of the most impressive classic Commodore and Amiga collections, he's got pretty much every machine that you could name, but also Trevor wanted an AmigaOS 4 machine so badly at a time when they were kind of off sale. He's founded his own company, spearheaded a project that he mostly put his own money into at a big loss, as you'll hear in a moment, to get the highest end PowerPC AmigaOS 4 hardware that he could get his hands on. So Trevor was behind the X1000 project and founded the A-Eon company back in 2009. So in a moment we'll find out a little bit more about why he did that, what the pros and cons were about the X1000, what he found difficult and challenging about doing that. I'll ask him how many they sold, try and get a figure on that, and also we'll find out about his future plans and see where he's going to go to next with the X5000 project, which is going to be the follow-up to the X1000. And we'll find out a little bit more about Trevor's history, what he thinks of the other Amiga spin-offs like MorphOS and Aros, and his passion for the original platform, why he fell in love with it as well. Now, I will just say, before you watch this really interesting 20-odd minute interview, the audio is not fantastic. As with all of the interviews I've done, we did have a few audio problems, so you're listening to this interview from the camera's built-in microphone, but I do think it's listenable when you get your ears around it. It's not horrendous by any stretch of the imagination. So enjoy this look at the next generation Amigas with Trevor Dickinson from A-Eon. We are here at the Amiga's 30th birthday celebrations in Peterborough, and I'm here with Trevor Dickinson.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
How's your weekend been?
Oh, it's been fantastic.
So we're here to celebrate the Amiga's 30th birthday. It's amazing to see such a good turnout. What do you think of the weekend so far?
It's difficult to say because what we've seen, I've been to three, it's my third show, third Amiga 30th show. They've all been different. This one has a charity element with children in need, which is fantastic. But it's actually celebrating the Amiga in the UK. And what we're seeing is the differences. In the US, the Amiga didn't really have a foothold. It was used by professionals, big boxes. In the UK, we became the leaders of game development. And what we're seeing here is all the greats from the game developers. And of course all Amigans in the UK play games.
Yeah.
So what we've got here is very much a game playing genre, if that makes sense.
Well, people, may be familiar with the work that you do these days. Everyone thinks, Trevor, OS4 guy. You've actually got a very rich history with the Amiga, haven't you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, obviously I started with Commodore PET,
yeah,
and then I got hooked into Commodore, 64, 128, 128D, and then Amiga. So I have a real love for the classic Amiga. I started collecting Amigas later in life, and I have a fairly massive collection of Amiga computers.
I've seen your pictures.
So I didn't play a lot of games, to be honest. Although I did. I played Amiga games. My daughters played more games than I did.
Okay. And
I'm wearing a CD32 t-shirt, which I just won in an auction.
Looks brand new.
It is brand new. I was going to bid on everything. I did bid on everything to get the price up.
Yeah. All for charity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Not, but I could have gone for other things, but I wanted this because I remember buying two CD32s, one for myself and one for my daughters.
Yeah.
But they really went to the game, like Zool, RoboCod, things like that.
Yeah.
But
the classics.
They love them. Yeah.
So, how many Amigas have you got then?
Well, what do we call Amigas? I know I've got about 180 Commodore machines from the Kim 1 through to my latest next generation AmigaOne X1000. I've probably got, of the 180, probably about 90 are Amigas.
Wow.
Of all times and all variations, because we always think about the 500, the 1000, the 600, 1200, the 2000, 3000, 4000, CD32, CD-TV, but there are lots of other variations. Yeah.
What's your favourite model?
It's a really...
Is it changed by the day?
It's like saying to me, who's your favourite girlfriend? Is your wife? I have a real soft spot for my first Amiga.
Which was?
It was an Amiga 2000. Yeah. It was built like a tank.
Ugly but beautiful.
Ugly but beautiful. And so for me, but in terms of style, I'd have to say, I think this the Amiga 500 case for me, is the ultimate.
This here?
Look at that. Even now, that is sexy.
Yeah.
I think that's stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say the Amiga 3000 case was quite stylish, but it was actually, I found it quite difficult to expand. It was quite
Very small, yeah. Cramped.
Whereas the Amiga 4000 was more like the 2000 again, but a little more stylish. But for me, 2000 because my first,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to say that. 500 because of style.
Do you remember the first time you saw the Amiga then?
Right. I'd moved to the States. I read all the Commodore magazines.
Amiga World and
there wasn't much in the States, to be honest.
Okay.
There wasn't. But there was the Amiga World. So I was starting looking at magazines like Amiga. And but I had 128D.
Yeah.
And I had GeoS running on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mouse and Windows systems and the expansion RAM, the 512 expansion RAM. And I thought, I don't need another computer, this is fine. And then, bang! My house is hit by lightning.
Yeah.
Came down the phone line and blew up my Commodore 128D. So I thought, insurance money. Maybe I'll look at that Amiga again. So I actually bought an Amiga 2000. So it was an act of God, you see. It was meant to be. Like we're in the Boeing Ball today, in the raffle.
Yeah.
It was not a fix.
You're probably like me, coming from an 8-bit background. I had a Commodore Plus 4 to start with,
yeah.
and when I first booted an Amiga up, I thought, well, there's no BASIC. What do you do? Was it a big step for you going from 8-bit to 16-bit?
Two things. You're right.
Yeah.
It booted to Workbench, which if you'd been using GeoS and the 128, it was not unusual, right? All right, but it was a colour Workbench and it was great. But the other thing was just the games that came with it. So while I say I wasn't a game player, I started buying games that had a lot of graphics in it. You soon realise games not just about graphics, it's about gameplay.
Yeah.
But initially, it was so good on the Amiga.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
It's
like a cartoon.
I'm watching the cartoon.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, that's unbelievable. So Dragon's Lair, Bubble Ghost, which was a simple game. Space Harrier, which was an Amiga game, but still on the Amiga it looked good.
Yeah. So obviously the Amiga had its wilderness years, you could say, after Commodore went bankrupt. What was your involvement, say, from the late 90s onwards?
I was using Amigas. I put Amigas in my business, so we had the 3000s and 4000s. We used it for desktop publishing, video, graphics. All of our technical manuals were created on Amiga with Page Plus and Professional Page and Professional Draw, and GBP software and ASDG, that sort of stuff. So I used it all the way. In fact, I made my guys use it to do all the work up to about the late 90s, 1999.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And actually even up to 2000, I had a PC by then. I had an ESCOM PC first. Then it gave me a PC.
Keeping it in the family.
Wonder why. Yeah. So even up to 2000, I was using my Amiga 4000 Tower, which I towered myself.
Manually,
I did it myself. Which had a Power PC, Cyberstorm Power PC 604, 233, 060. That was, I used it every day. And then something happened, the machine went dead, and for about a year or two I drifted away.
To Windows?
I was already using Windows at that time, and Windows, yeah. So that was about 2000.
Yeah. Tell us about your first involvement with OS4 then.
That's an interesting story. I said I sort of drifted away 2000. 2004, sold my business, and I had some spare time, didn't I? Some time on my hands, and apart from travelling the world with my wife, because I'd done it all in business anyway by myself, some weird parts of the world, she never came with me, so we started to travel a bit. And I had a small spare time, so I started reading, I thought, I've got my Amigas, my computers, I didn't sell them. My first computer I had a Commodore PET, and when I saw a Commodore 64 playing international soccer, movement, sound, video, graphics, and I thought, great, I've got to have that. So I couldn't afford to buy a Commodore. It was expensive, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I sold the PET, got a good price for it, and I bought a Commodore 64 system. Right. So with the Amigas, so I had kept that one. After that, every time I upgraded, I kept the old machine and stored it away. So I had all these machines. I thought, we moved to London. I had a basement. I said, Christine, the basement's mine.
Man den.
So I created a really, it was a man den in the basement. Put all the shelving in. I put my systems up. And I thought, well, there's a lot of space here. Went onto eBay, and I did successfully fill the basement, and it was a big basement. So I started to think, well, Amiga, and I started putting them on again and really enjoying it. I thought, there must be some magazines around somewhere, because the last magazines finished around about 2000.
Yeah. Amiga format was the last one. Okay.
So, yeah, Amiga format was the last one. So I managed to track down Total Amiga magazine, done by Seal, the South Essex Amiga group. And it was really good. It was really quite good quality. Very well edited by Robert Williams.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't know, there's a memory loss here. I don't know whether I must have contacted him because he lived in London and I was in London. So I think I said, I got some Amigas. How about, have an Amiga day? And it became a regular occurrence. But once a month, we get together with 2 or 3 other people and just do Amiga stuff.
Yeah.
We converted an old PC into an Amathon system.
Yeah.
It was most of his work, to be honest. We play around with anything, right?
Just nerd out.
Yeah, nerd out. Rebuild stuff. Just messing around. It was really good stuff. It was chance occurrence from that got me into Amigas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know why?
Was this OS4?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What happened?
Well, he got in. Michael Batalana, Cloantho, was coming to town, and he always likes to talk to people and meet Amigans. And he invited Robert and his business partner, or his co-editor, Sicky, Michael Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
Michael was working on a shift and couldn't go, so Robert contacted me, would I like to go along for the meal? So yes, I went to the meal, I met Michael Batalana, we hit it off. I said, look, next time you're in town with your partner, you'll come round and see me, because he was visiting the UK quite a lot. He did. We formed a sort of friendship, and then I said, look, if there's any way I can help to promote Amiga Forever, because I had no next generation Amiga. I was trying to get one. Couldn't get one. I'll help out. So I ended up funding one of the big Amiga Forever upgrades.
Okay.
The one that really set it on its current course. And he said, Trev, why don't you come over to Amsterdam with me? I'm going to go see Commodore Gaming.
Yeah.
No,
so the PC gaming company.
Yeah. Also the high-powered PCs with the fantastic cases.
Those cases were gorgeous. I've got one, yeah. Beautiful.
Really good.
Well.
So we went out to see them, and they just moved into this brand new premises, and you could see it was a sort of startup type company, with really trying to create their own brand. And obviously, Michael was trying to sell them or promote some of the deal with Amiga Forever to give them an Amiga-like feel. But they were more interested in their Commodore brands, the 64.
Not the Amiga.
They hadn't realised, well, partly because they couldn't use the name.
Yeah, Amiga Amiga, yeah, okay.
So, but they had the 64. So, and of course, Michael's got C64 Forever as well. So, for some reason, we were going to go through Belgium, and we met up with Ben Hermans at Everett Garden.
Is this the first time you met them?
First time I met them. I'd never met them. I had by that stage, to be honest, I've jumped one step in the story. I had by that stage managed to get an Amiga Micro A1C, bought on eBay.
On the iTech boards?
Yeah, bought on eBay, and I was blown away by it. I thought, this is fantastic. It's just like the Amiga, but it's fast.
Yeah.
And I was using fast Amigas.
Yeah.
This was really fast. But I realised what it lacked was content, software content. But it was fun to use. And I started to, that's how I got into the Total Amiga. I started reading their magazines. I read all the back issues because they were available free of charge as PDFs.
Because yeah, you download.
So I read all the trials and tribulations from 2000 through to 2004. And so it gave me a good background. So I meet up with Everett and Ben, and they just found out that day they'd been sued by Amiga Inc.
Oh, no way.
So I made the silly suggestion, well, if you need any help.
Famous last words.
When was that? 2007?
So 07, 08, wasn't it?
8 years later, this is what I am now.
So what was your first time we saw OS4 then? What did you think?
I was really impressed. First of all, it was so Amiga-like.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously comes from the Amiga OS, so it obviously is super Amiga-like. It was extremely fast. I had a little problem getting online initially, but I went to, I think, Amiga World, which is the site I used to like to visit. And I got instant help, so it helped me fix my problem. I got online, and I was just blown away how fast I could browse the web, you know, how fast everything worked.
Still workbench, still screen dragging.
Everything seemed, you know, normal. I felt like I was using Amiga.
Yeah.
Very fast Amiga.
So obviously OS4 hit a bit of a rough spot when the court case happened, and the hardware was off sale for a while, wasn't it? By the time OS4 was finished, there was no hardware available. So you stepped in there.
Well, no, it's not actually true. Obviously, it's true, but A-Cube. I got one of the first A-Cube systems when it was not, you know, it was a beta test system. Yeah. I met with those guys back in, that was probably in 2007. I went to P&H Amiga for the first time, and I saw a closed room demonstration of OS4 running on a SAM 440, and of course at that time the court case was in full swing, so you know
they couldn't release it.
Yeah. So that was my first look at OS4, and then I bought one. Again, I did a deal. I bought one, and it was pretty ropey experience. You know, OS4 didn't really run well on it.
Early days.
But I had it. Yeah, I had one. So that was my first experience with OS4 on next generation hardware. Even before the court case with Amiga Inc. and Hyperion was settled, you know, I did help out Hyperion. I loaned them some money to help them keep afloat. As I think as some other people did as well. And then obviously Ben Hermans came to me and said, look, I'm thinking about building a new Amiga. But we need money, we need backers, and that's how I got involved. So that's how the AmigaOne X1000 came about, was through that. So I had a business partner. I said, hey Tony, how about us have some fun? Yeah, he's not a computer guy at all. And I actually brought him along because I want some, you know, some sort of rationality.
To calm you down and rein you back in.
I've got Michael Lehman for that now.
Yeah.
Matthew Lehman for that now. Sorry, he keeps me under control. But yeah, because I didn't want, because I would say I'm a pretty good businessman, but with my Amiga passion, it's, you know, the heart rules the head sometimes.
Yeah. How did you convince him then, your business partner?
I said it'd be fun. You know, come on, you know, I've worked with him for, you know, 20 years, and I guess, you know, we can invest a little bit of money and let's see how we go. And that's what we did.
What was the biggest challenge of getting the X1000 out there?
There were numerous challenges. I think I said in my presentation today that, you know, development always takes much longer, takes more money. I now deal with business startups, you know, young companies, as a business angel. And I tell all my young guys, I say, look, it's going to take much longer than you think, and it's going to cost much more than you think. So, you know, you need to think about that now. And in developing hardware and software for our market, which is quite small, it does take a long time. So time is not on your side, and money is, you know, it's more than you can always think it is.
Is there anything you do different if you could go back?
Yes.
Such as?
I think we would have put more money in it. We made very simple assumptions. It's going to cost that to port the software. It's going to cost that to build the hardware. Then we'll sell it. A bit like the underpants modes, you know. Collect underpants. 3 profit, you know.
Question mark in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah. So we didn't really. In any of the business I do, it's a business plan. You know, what's the pain? What's my solution to the pain? Have I validated the market? And what I'm going to charge? And will I make any money? Right. That's you go through all those sort of steps. I didn't really do that with the X1000.
The CPU user, Apple owned it in the end, didn't they?
Well, when we first started the project, it was owned by PA7, we're a private company, fabulous chip manufacturer. Halfway through it, we did a deal, we negotiated with them, we got prices, got delivery, got credit terms, and then Apple bought.
What did you think when that happened?
I thought that was it, not going to happen.
Was it a kick in the nuts?
It was kicking nuts.
Yeah.
In fact, we hadn't formed the company by then. We formed a Belgian company initially. We hadn't formed it, and we thought, oh, that's it, it's not worth going ahead, you know, Apple not going to do anything. But the PA Semi guys came back to us and said, oh no, it's going to work, it's good, we can still do this. So we did a deal. The trouble is, when it came down to it, Apple just changed all the terms.
Okay.
You made credit terms, said no, we want to sell you everything now, we want to close it down, we want money up front, or we're just going to scrap it all.
Just for military, wasn't it, they used it for in the end?
It was used for military and industrial.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, basically because the PA semi chip is fairly high powered. It's low heat generation, low power usage, great for embedded systems.
Laptops as well. It was it was intended for. So obviously, I heard you were paying what, like £600 for the CPU.
The original deal we had was $500 per CPU, and we actually had a contract for $1,700 in the first batch. When Apple, so that's what we did. We pre-bought some for the beta testers, 124 actually, and then we went to the next batch. They want either the whole balance
Up front. Okay.
In fact, they shouldn't have done because we had 30-day terms. But even then, you take up a whole lot, 30 days, you still have to pay the money. So we did manage to get some out of them because we had some money on the way being sent to them, so we got those. But then when I went to get some more, they got rid of them. Whether they give them to brokers or they scrap them, I don't know. So the next batch we got was $960 each. And fortunately, we ate the difference. We didn't put it on the price, believe it or not. We ate the difference between ourselves and the Amiga kit.
Did you make any money off the X1000?
No, I lost a whole bunch of money on that. I think I've been fairly open about that. No money whatsoever.
How many did you sell?
I never tell you on that. I always say more than 200 and less than 2,000.
Okay. Thought I'd try digging. But the next step obviously is the X5000.
Well, I'll be more open about that.
Okay.
Our first batch, we're going to make 500.
At the X5000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going to differ about this?
And they're coming in by the day now, so we do need to sell some. What's different? Well, first of all, it's based on a Freescale P5020 or P5040 chip, and they've got a 10-year support life cycle. So we recognise the error of our ways with the PA semi chip in that it's not supported. Here you've got support. Secondly, it's a very powerful chip. It's very low heat generation, low power consumption.
What's the clock speed?
The 5020 is 2 gigahertz,
okay.
and the 5040 is 2.2. It was 2.4, but the production ones they brought out at 2.2. The 5020 is dual core, 5040 is quad core. So we really do need AmigaOS 4 to support multi-core. It is being worked on by Hyperion, but it's not there yet for the regular user. It's a system on a chip sort of thing. So the things on the CPU which give it value.
Like what?
Well, it's got onboard. When I say onboard, it's got sound. It's got Ethernet.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's got some other things. I don't like benchmarks because they're not real world. But in benchmark tests with Warp 3D compared to the X1000, which is a very stable machine now, very nice machine. It outperforms it by almost 100%.
Wow.
So it's just the raw power is so much better.
Obviously, the X1000 will still be supported. For all those users that bought it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, everything we do. Well, to me, it's about software.
Yeah.
So everything we do, we'll make sure it runs on both machines. But as a side benefit, we'll make sure it runs on within reason on all the other OS 4 machines around there.
Even the old iTech boards.
Yeah. I've got a number of those anyway. So, although I must admit, these days I find it difficult to keep them all up to date.
Yeah.
I just haven't got time.
And I find, I think one of the good things about the X1000 and the X5000 is, the old iTech boards, they were developer boards really, weren't they? But you've designed these from scratch to be stable.
Those are reference boards from Teron.
Maylogic, was it?
That's the one, yeah. They were reference boards, and of course they had, as we found out later, they had some inherent problems with the hardware. So they weren't specially built, they were just labelled. So both the systems so far and anything else we do in the future are built from scratch, designed for the AmigaOS 4.
And people might think, Trevor, you're an OS 4 guy, but you also support MorphOS. That's been supported to X5000?
Yeah, I bought my first MorphOS machine back in 2006, I think. It was a Pegasus 2. And so that I know of a number of Pegasus 1s and Pegasus 2s, IFCA there. I've even got some of the Power Books and Power Macs. Yeah, so with more for OS on. I've even got Aeros machines, so some very limited ones that were made.
Yeah.
So yeah, I quite like them as well. You know, although I have a certain preference for OS4. Now coming to the X5000, I want it to run everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more force is being ported to as we speak.
Do you think, would it be a dream for you that all the communities work closer?
Yeah, well the question we heard today at the show is, you know, can't we all work together? Well, you know, it's a bit naive really to say that. But there's no reason why the developers can't all produce products which are on any platform. Because a good example of that is Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, Hollywood runs, not only does it run on Aeros, Morphos, OS4, it runs on Android, Mac OS, and a PC, and Linux.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if one guy can do it, it's just cross-compiling. We should do it for all of our software.
Why do you think we've not seen more of that?
I think it's historical because there's a period between 2000 and 2004 where people were vying for the hearts and minds of
Red versus blue.
Yeah, this diminishing market, you know, users. The trouble is that actually makes people go away as well. You know, and there's still a touch of that around. But generally, most people you meet, most Amigans you meet, whatever flavour they like, they're pretty good guys.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they're here still.
We all started here.
Yeah, we all started the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. One final question then, Trevor. What do you want for the future then?
I want to see the user base grow. What's been really exciting about these last 2 or 3 shows is I've got closer to some of the original developers, and they've got a sparkle in their eye again about potential future developments. Whether it's just nostalgia and it's overriding them in the cold light of day, they'll think, oh, no, I did that, I'm going to go back. But I'm hoping that we'll be able to forge some closer relationships and produce something that has the sparkle that the original Amiga had and the extra bit of something that the original Amiga had. So ask me again in a couple of years whether I managed to achieve that. We do have a number of developments in the works. I mean, apart from the X5000, so for us, we're still investing, but we're putting a lot more effort also into software because content is key.
What about you and Amiga Kit then? What's your relationship there these days?
Well, Matthew's our business partner, of course, in A-Eon. We're looking to do something that will bring us closer in one way or the other. Whether I become a shareholder in Amiga Kit or we do something else, but something will happen in the next 6 months, along those lines.
Thank you very much, Trevor.
It's a pleasure.
Been amazing. Yeah. To the Amiga.
Only Amiga.
Only Amiga. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.